Welcome to Saturday morning, Thunderhill Raceway Park. We're going to have the second race. This is on the 3-mile course. We're on board with Stuart Patterson, who's off pole. Interesting camera view here from Stuart. He's got the camera actually mounted on his helmet. It's an interesting view. It shows you a lot of what the driver is seeing as he goes through his lap. Not sure that I like it. It's a little bit bouncy for me. There's something about your view from a camera on top of a head that's bouncing around versus your view from your own eyes when your head's bouncing around. If only we had somebody in the series who knew something about how the eyes work and how the brain processes images. If we could get an ornithologist type guy, that would be fantastic. But what we can see quite clearly from this is that Stuart has a little bit of competition on the outside now. That's Kinnan going around him. We're going to get a better view of that from Kinnan's point on this start. But Stuart unfortunately lost a spot there in that exchange going through turn 3. Looking at it from Kinnan's run. Again, we're in a mixed run group. We've got Formula Continentals in front of us. We've got some Formula Vs back behind us. And you can see it's going to be a fairly quick start here. Kinnan's going to have Erik Poulsen on the outside of him going into turn 1 and then also around turn 2. And that's going to have an effect on him, as you'll see. As he comes into 1, you'll notice that Kinnan's pretty narrow on this corner. And he can't track out completely on the outside of this because Erik Poulsen is still there. There he is. And he's going to try to make a run down the inside of Stuart going into 2. Stuart's got the position on him. He's not going to be able to make that happen. Advantage to Poulsen once again, who comes up on the outside. And that gives Kinnan an idea, and a brilliant idea for Kinnan, not so great for Stuart. Puts him on the outside into 3 and goes around him and has the position now for turn 4 on the inside and makes that pass stick. You're going to see also just how slow it is up over the top of the hill, particularly on this first lap. And we'll go on board here with Denny to round out a bit more of the field on this start. You can see Poulsen on the outside of him, and he's got Kinnan up in front of him, and then of course our front row with Chuck and Stuart. Everybody gets moving pretty well. There's nowhere to go on the inside. Kinnan's got that blocked off. There's nowhere to go on the outside either. And we're going to go into turn 1. We're going to stay line abreast here. We're going to be able to see a really interesting the way that this evolves on the outside here. That flash on the outside is actually me. I didn't qualify so well here. I had a suspension break during qualifying. It was a rear A-arm, and that causes you to have 3-wheel steering, and unfortunately only the 2 of the 3 wheels are actually controllable. Put me out of qualifying, and I was a little bit far back, so I'm trying to come through. You can see that we had a little bit of brake lockup going into the turn 3 there from Erik Poulsen, trying to keep himself out of trouble with the other 2 up there. Manages to make it through. We're going to follow along with Denny here because he's going to get a really big run. We've got a kink coming up here. This is flat out in 4th gear, although on this first lap it's pretty nerve-wracking to keep your foot in that throttle. And you'll hear Denny with a slight lift, but a lot less than those in front of him, and you can see a big wiggle there from Poulsen, who has to collect it. That gives Denny a run. Denny gets by him, takes that position, and sets sail to see if he can catch the guys in front of him. And the view out the back from Denny, directly behind him is me. Off to the side there, you've got Dave Jalen. We're going to come into turn 1 here, and you're going to see that I get a really good run off of this start and manage to make it up alongside. Unfortunately, I am now in between Denny and Kinnan, and there's really nowhere for me to go. I've got the long line around the outside trying to make that happen going down into turn 2. I continue to try to make it happen because I'm just too dumb to give up and slot in behind. It still doesn't work out, not enough grip out there for me to make that happen, and I have to drop in behind. But a reasonable start. At least I got 1 position on the green. Then we go later on in that lap. This is that kink, and you can hear the little bit of a breathe of the throttle. You can see Denny move to the inside because he's got quite a run. He makes that pass stick well before we're into the braking zone. Takes it up over the hill and consolidates the spot and moves it. And here's the start from Dave Jalen's view. You're going to see me looking like I'm fired from a cannon here. It looks like my jet-assisted takeoff actually worked on the start, which was nice. I think this time Jalen's just happy to see me not go by him sideways into turn 1. and we can see that it's fairly clean turn 1 and turn 2 here up in front of him. You can see Jalen's got people on the inside of him as well. You can see him looking in the mirrors trying to make sure that he's defending off the line. And you can see us too wide going through turn 2 here, nobody really able to do much, and then we see that the move here by Kinnan on the outside and the brake lockup as well. You can see everybody makes it through cleanly, but there was a lot going on that start. No contact, no touch, but it was a pretty good start, pretty exciting to watch. And again, the further back the field you get, the more you have to slow down for that turn up over the top of the hill, and you can see him looking in the mirror to make sure he wasn't good. Back on board with Stewart, and you're going to see him set up a pass, but it's not going to happen where you think. Coming into this corner, you can see a little bit of tail happiness out of Kinnan. That's going to put him offline. It's going to put him off speed. And another slide right there on the exit, and that's going to give a terrific run to Stewart. Both of those cars have pretty strong motors in them, both built by the same builder. They're going to get down to this braking zone at the same time, but with Kinnan down on the inside the way he is, he's going to have to take a very tight line in. And as we saw in the previous video, we know Stewart gets out of this last corner just like a bat out of hell, and he does again, and he's going to make this move stick down this straightaway, put it through on the outside, and go around the outside of 1. Take a look at that same view from Kinnan. You can see all of the opposite lock that's going on there to save the car. We're going to see it here again in this next corner. Kind of compounding problems as we move along. Kinnan's going to move over to the right-hand side. He's going to try to protect that right-hand line because he knows the next corner coming up turns to the right. He's successful in doing this, but again, it's going to put him in a really bad spot for the following corner, where we're going to be able to see the over-under executed successfully, as Stewart gets a good run off of this corner and is going to get him down the front straightaway. Kinnan protects the inside to go into 1, but this is over and done before they ever get close to turn 1. Traffic always ends up playing a role in these races. Here we're coming up on some of the Formula V's going to lap them. Stewart gets a nice clean run going into 1. Kinnan gets a slightly balked run coming off of 1, but actually ends up with more speed into 2 than Stewart did. Looks like Stewart had to pinch off the exit of that corner or come in a little bit narrow, and that gets Kinnan right up behind him. So Kinnan's going to try to take advantage of this. He's now up on his gearbox and see if he can make something happen here. It's tough to pass Stewart. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes, so you really got to get a run on him somewhere. And we've got a decent view of this pass from Denny's car as well. You can see it up in front. You'll see the two of them kind of go side by side through this last set of corners, and then side by side down the straightaway. And if I'm Denny, I'm salivating right now because I know this is going to slow these two guys up, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to close some ground on him and maybe be able to battle with him at the end. He's going to gain a little bit of ground, but probably not as much as he would have liked to. Would have been happier if those guys would have slowed each other up more, but they've raced with each other enough. They kind of know how to get by each other without causing a lot of lost time while they're doing it. And that lap traffic is going to play a role again. Stewart catches a V. I know it's an FST. It's a V on steroids. He's going to catch him in a bad spot. He's going to get pinched down at the bottom, and Kinnan's going to make a run on the outside and be able to get by. This will finally be the pass that Kinnan actually manages to keep that position. He's going to run away a little bit towards the end of this and put a little bit of a gap in, not a huge one. Any slight mistake, any bobble, any traffic that he caught was going to get him back. But you can see once again Stewart has that great run off of that last corner, but it's not enough this time to do anything with it, and Kinnan keeps it down the inside and makes it work. And if you like seeing the pass rather than being passed, here's the view of it. Kinnan again with a bit of opposite lock on. but now he's got the opportunity, swings to the outside, takes a bit of a chance here that the V isn't going to fully move over on the exit, pulls the pass off, and gets down into this next corner and holds the spot. You'll see it from Denny's view here. You'll see them give us the split V soup once again as we had on Friday. The two of them going around both sides of a V and trying to see who's going to come out on top. I'm sure that Denny's loving this thing, figuring that he's going to make up some ground. He does, but then he hits this corner right as the V gets to it, and so it slows him back up, and he's not able to get as much ground as he would have liked. And we move into the final lap of this race, and Kinnan is catching a V and doesn't want to be passed by Stewart. And he says, hey, it's no problem, there's dirt out here. And so that's his line, puts it through on the outside, makes it past the V. He's going to make it past, I believe, one of the club Fords right here. He's going to give himself enough of a gap back to Stewart that he's going to be able to keep this. And we're going to come out of the last corner here. You're going to see a little bit happier of a fist pump from Kinnan today than you did on Friday. Strangely enough, still the same position, second, but there is a lot to be said about beating Stewart. It makes you just this happy right there. So that was our weekend. Really some good racing. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Alright, I know what you're wondering. Why do we not have any onboard footage from your camera, Eric? And the reason is because my camera decided to give up on life this particular weekend. I won't tell you which camera it is because this thing's been through wars. This is not really the camera's fault, but trying to go up and over, down and over the hill, upside down, is pretty nauseating, and I wasn't going to make you watch this throughout the entire thing because it's about to make me vomit myself. So that's the reason you didn't get any footage from me.